BikeWalkKC staff will conduct interviews with partner organizations. The goal is to highlight the active slash programs and initiatives that the partner organization provides, supports in physical activities or active lifestyles, how it has been impacted by COVID, how partners have adapted, and how they're personally embraced the Move Your Way message. Today we're here with Ariana King from Safe Routes to School, and we're going to have her answer a couple questions. The first one would be, could you tell me what organization you represent and how your work supports physical activities and active lifestyles?
Yes, thank you for having me, Lottie. So I'm with Safe Routes to School, which is a national program that promotes walking and bicycling to school through a few different methods, I should say, including infrastructure improvements, enforcement, offering tools and resources, safety education, and then also incentives to encourage walking and biking to schools. And so our programming here in KCK is on the elementary school level. And so one of the main ways that we traditionally encourage students to walk and bike to school is through a program called the Walking School Bus. And so what that is, it's a walking club that is led by an adult that we call a champion. And so it's an adult-led walking group that follows a route that is specifically created for that school with different safety elements in mind. And they create that route to lead students either home from school or to school safely in a group setting. And so we also provide technical assistance across the metro to schools that see the benefit of having this type of programming in place to support active lifestyles.
Okay. So walking and all that. Yeah, that definitely promotes active lifestyles. Uh,
Yes, so the biggest and the most obvious change is that school is no longer in session, right?
yeah.
So that was an immediate postponing of the walking school bus this spring. But then we also conduct traffic safety evaluations, and those traffic safety evaluations have been put on hold also because we conduct those during arrival and dismissal from school. So since that's not happening, those are also postponed. So those are the two biggest changes to our typical spring programming.
Oh, I see. What opportunities have you discovered as a result of this?
So in the very same breath of thinking about the traffic safety evaluations and how no one is at the school site to evaluate, because students and teachers are at home, it opens the opportunity to get ahead on some of those traffic improvements that we see based on those very evaluations that are on hold. And so we're already having conversations internally about addressing infrastructure improvements through updating painting and markings around the school premises, as well as signage. And so we've also been able to incorporate the Move Your Way messaging into our encouragement of walking within your neighborhoods as well.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. The purpose of Move Your Way campaign is to encourage people of all ages to stay moving and follow the recommended physical activity guidelines. Why do you think that's important?
I think that the guidelines are important because we should be mindful of what it takes to maintain our health and our physical bodies. And obviously right now, health is the number one focus for the entire world.
Yeah.
But we sometimes forget that physical activity is a huge part of that very health that we're all trying to hold on to and maintain. And so I think right now, while everyone around the country at least is being forced to slow down and stay close to home, that presents an even more important reason as to why we have to continue to seek out ways to keep our bodies moving in whatever way best suits ourselves personally as well as our families too. So I think they're very timely reminders in reinforcing the guidelines just as well as they are important too.
Yeah, and that leads to our next question. How have you personally incorporated Move Your Way suggestions into your lifestyle? I know that can be hard.
And it can be difficult, but it is helpful when you're looking at official guidelines sent out, from national standards. And so, me personally, I've been taking laps, walking laps around the perimeter of my local Quick Trip, because it's,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I mean, Quick Trip, it's not far, and it's a safe place, right? It's well lit and all those things.
Yeah.
But mine locally, in particular, it's got a nice steep incline and hill action going on, so it's a legit workout. And I believe only 2 laps, or maybe 2 to 4, equates to a mile. So
Oh,
2 to 4 laps, and I've done a mile. And I have a good friend of mine to thank for that, because she got me on it, and she does it consistently. So it's nice to have someone to do that with, that lives nearby. And I've also been taking advantage of virtual yoga classes. There are so many instructors that are at home and that are offering their gifts and their talents to just jump on somebody's platform, and offer those interactive opportunities, which is nice to take advantage of. And then the final way that I think I've most uniquely been able to incorporate the guidelines is through home improvement projects. And
oh,
we at my house, my family has really been tackling some reorganizing and decluttering, inside and outside. So I know when we talk about physical activity, we often think of ways to produce sweat. And while you don't necessarily break a sweat decluttering and reorganizing, I am 100% using my body and exerting physical strength in the process of that, because now I keep Epsom salt on hand too. So I think for me, I've just been making a conscious effort to be mindful and creative and simplistic when I'm thinking of ways of how to stay active right now. In addition to the most obvious of just like taking a walk outside, if you feel safe in your neighborhood to do so. So yeah.
that sounds good. You're doing a lot better than me. That's for sure.
It's an effort. It's a effort, that I can't pretend that I would do if I wasn't mindfully making myself do it. I'll be perfectly honest.
That's actually another question I had. Like, is there like a little pep talk that you give yourself to like motivate yourself to do some stuff? Because I know some days I find it hard to even get out of bed. But I'll be like, oh, if I like pause my show here, I'll do a little bit of yoga and then I'll go right back to the show. Or I'll watch it while I do my yoga. Like, is there little compromises that you do?
I think compromises is the best word for it. Because for me, I'll be perfectly honest, I wouldn't be able to just talk myself into like a home workout. For
Yeah.
me, it's more of like the let me take a break from the monotony of sitting in front of my laptop. It's almost mental, I think. It's almost mental in terms of I'm not doing this necessarily because I want to lose weight or because I want to achieve these physical goals, but let me take advantage of the mental release and the mental clarity that comes from doing something active. So I think for me, it's the motivation to mentally declutter
I see.
by way of cleaning out the basement. Because I think right now, everyone is under some type of mental stress or some type of mental discomfort across the board, just no matter what. And so I think that we all owe it to ourselves to really be mindful about how we deal with that.
I understand. Well, that was great to hear, and I appreciate you for joining me today.